Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey, Marvelous Moms. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm chatting with somebody today who I'm really excited to chat with because she's new to the blogging scene, but not new to motherhood by any stretch of the word. And she's got a really cool little backstory I'm excited to share with you. So welcome to the podcast, Naimah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to have you. The second you sent me a link to your blog, I was like, I really like the look of this blog. Like, I have not even read through all the content, but I was like, I like her already. So great job on like the layout and the visualization of the blog, because I really think that can either draw you in or just kick you back out. And for me, it totally works. It's got that like Pinteresty feel where you're like, I could stay on here for a long time and I want to read all the things. Awesome.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way.
Yeah, so you're doing something great.
Thank you.
So tell everybody how many kids you have, and let's hear about kind of like your mommy side of your life.
So I have 4 kids. My eldest is 8. Then I have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 10-month-old.
Wow, that's a busy household.
It's busy.
I feel kind of passed up. I've been talking to people lately who have my kids who are my same kids' ages, but then they have one more at the end. And I'm like, oh man, I should have done that a long time ago, but we've kind of passed the benchmark for where we would have the 4th. And now we're just really not sure if there's going to be a 4th. So, but that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like once you pass a certain stage and you kind of get comfortable in your own schedule and your own, routine, it's hard to like go back and do it. That's I don't know whether we'll add any more to our family, but I was just telling my husband the other day that if we had to wait, like 4 or 5 years, then I don't think I would do it again, because by then they're potty trained, they're, sleeping all night,
yeah.
They're independent.
You don't want to work backwards. Once you're sleeping through the night too, you're just like, I don't know if I could go back to those horrible sleepless nights of not even knowing if my clothes were on straight or, on the right way, or if I was really awake or having a terrible nightmare,
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. I'm kind of more on board, and my husband's kind of like over here in, are you serious land? So we'll see what happens in the future. As of now, I think we're good, but you never know. My biggest
So how old is your youngest?
My youngest is 2.5, and my biggest fear is that she's going to be 5, and then we're going to decide to have another one, and then I'm really starting over, and I don't really want that to happen. I just kind of wanted them all close and done. So we're getting close to the point.
That's another benefit too. Like when they're close apart, it's kind of hard, but then they grow together and they play together, and
they have so much fun together right now. It's so fun to watch. I never thought we'd get here, and I know it's just going to get better and better. So I'm excited to keep watching it grow and shift. And I have 2 boys and then a girl, and she fits right in with them. I mean, she does all the things they do. She wants to be right up there doing all the action stuff. It's just hilarious. I love it so much. So how many are boys and how many are girls of yours?
We have 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love it. See, you kind of got a magic thing going on right there. It's even, each 2 of each. You can be totally good.
Yeah.
So everybody's probably going to hear an accent because this is like all audio. So tell us about your background, like where you're from, where your family's from.
So I was born and raised in Guyana in South America, which is, it is an English-speaking country. It's the only English-speaking country in South America. So people always ask me if I speak Spanish or from my looks, if I speak like Arabic or a Middle Eastern language. And that's unfortunately not the case. English is the only thing we've ever, been taught. It's the only thing I know. So that's where my accent is from.
Interesting. I love it. So you wrote in the questionnaire that I sent you about your family, and I know you're an entrepreneur, you're a mompreneur, which I love, but you wrote a little bit about your parents, like watching them have to start over when you were 18. So tell me about that a little bit. I was really intrigued by that.
So it was, although we lived in a third world country in South America, we had everything. My dad had an amazing job, so we were afforded a lot of luxuries, like, a personal driver, and someone to help clean the house, and someone to help garden, and then coming to America and watching them like literally start right back over, and having, seeing my dad like apply for jobs and not get them and things like that. That was definitely an interesting stage in my life.
I'm sure.
And a lot of times I consider it one of the most challenging stages of my life as well.
Yeah, because you were old enough to understand it too, and to also feel the overwhelm of knowing you had your own journey to start as well. Like it wasn't, nothing was just right there for you. You were going to have to work hard, just as hard, if not harder, to make your own opportunities as well.
Yeah. I mean, even, when I came here at 18, even getting into college was difficult because I had to spend the first year not going to school because I needed to, come out of the category of an international student so that my fees would be reduced. Yeah. So even that transition for me was difficult.
Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. So how far into living here did you meet your husband? I mean, tell us a little bit about like your love story and how your own little family began.
So we met 4 years after living here. Okay. And we actually met online.
Oh, me and my husband met online too. I love it.
That's funny. I guess he noticed that we shared the same. His parents are actually from Guyana, but he was born and raised here. He was actually born and raised in New York, and then they moved to the South. So I guess noticing the similarity, there aren't a lot of Guyanese people in Georgia or South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So he messaged me, and it took a couple of times before he messaged me for me to actually respond.
I'm sure.
For one, I didn't buy the online thing, and two, I was in grad school, so I was really busy at the time as well.
Wow. What were you in grad school for? Tell me about that.
I did my master's in IT.
Wow.
I also did my bachelor's in IT.
And then you met your husband online. So it was you kind of set yourself up for that one. You had yourself right there ready. That's so sweet. Okay. And then 4 children later, here you are homeschooling all 4 kids, right? I mean, I know some of them are not even quite the traditional school age, but homeschool, school starts whenever. Like education starts at birth. So
yeah, I guess homeschoolers typically go on the saying that learning is a lifelong process, and it's a continuous process. It's not like a 8 to 3:30 kind of a deal. So
right, yeah, that's so cool. I just started homeschooling my oldest, but my next one down is kind of obsessed with preschool, and it's so much just playtime. Like it's not really I don't know, it's so loose, and he's been dying to go to school. And since we had already started into the public school system long before we decided to do homeschooling, and he was already excited because he saw his brother do that, we're letting him do preschool, he wants to do preschool. And so, but he comes home from preschool and he's like, can we do homeschool now? And I'm like, homeschool is not at a certain time of day. Homeschool is all the time. Like you're constantly learning. Yeah. There's no allotted time for education. And it's so exciting because they literally do want to learn about so many things that it's like, I thought I would have to force and come up with this perfect curriculum when really they're hungry for it. And I love that. It's so exciting to me. So I love finding other fellow homeschooling moms. It's so fun. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that your son likes school so much because my daughter, who is in first grade now, she's actually never gone to school, preschool or kindergarten. And so her idea of school is skewed. She thinks that she can, she'll go to school and she'll play all day, and her teacher is going to listen to her all day, and they're going to go on field trips every day.
You're like, and that's, no. That's what home is. That's not school.
Yeah, because whenever we have days where I'm really busy and maybe not giving her as much attention as she wants, she says, "I wish I could go to school."
You're gonna get even less attention than you're getting from me right now. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So how do you do homeschooling and kind of work from home? Do you still do the IT from home as well? Do you work?
I don't.
Okay, so that was just kind of a fun little stint in your history. We identify with that. My husband got a master's degree that he does not use at all right now. So it's great. It's good experience, and there's a lot of tools that he's gained from that it's maybe not a specialty, but I don't know. That's cool. I'm sure it's helped a little bit too with blogging and having an understanding of the online space or just computer space.
Yeah.
So do you guys follow a specific curriculum with homeschooling, or what's your method of madness, I like to call it?
So this year we actually went with the Georgia, what's the Georgia Connections Academy? So it's like a virtual public school.
Uh-huh.
But we're not, so the way it works is it like sends you a planner every day. It loads a planner at the beginning of the semester where you have like specified things to do every day.
Uh-huh.
And some days we don't follow it to a T because I still want it to be, I don't want it to be like public school at home.
Right.
I want it to be like a structure that I follow. But if I feel like we need to spend an additional 3 days on multiplication, then we'll spend that additional 3 days on it,
Yeah.
instead of just like going through and checking it off and moving on.
Right.
The way it's done in like public school. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's their little spin on. And then we supplement with other things. Like I love Singapore math, so we supplement with that. And
Cool.
we did Saxon reading last year. So
So
we like
you're
this.
kind of, you just pull what you like and stick with what you like. And it's
Yeah.
just, I'm finding a lot of people do that. See, I'm just kind of picking your brain because I'm new to this and we still haven't decided how we're going to do it exactly, but we know we're going to do it. And we're really excited. So tell me about your blog. Tell me why you started the blog and what your favorite aspect of it and like what's your favorite thing to blog about.
So I started it as a hobby. I always loved writing. I feel like it was always a strong point. And then when I was in college, I really found that to be like my creative outlet. I wrote for the school's newspaper for a long time. And I really enjoyed doing it. It was like my go-to when I was at my busiest because it was something I liked doing. And I always wanted to write, but I never felt like I had stories to share. And even the stories that I had to share, I didn't really have the courage, to be honest, to like put them out there for other people to read them. Because once you put something online, it kind of gets around,
It's never down either. Like it's always there in some way. Yeah.
So once I found the courage to actually put it out there, I created a Facebook page. And once I realized that people were actually reading it, then one of my friends actually said to me, she said, "It's really good. I like it, but it doesn't seem legit when it's just a Facebook page." So then I went out and I, created a WordPress blog.
Cool. Okay, so tell everybody the name of your blog. We'll talk about it more, but just so if they're listening right now and they're at a computer and they want to type it in, tell them the URL.
It's in thisbeautiful life of ours.com.
I love it so much. I've been perusing it. I'm actually looking at it right now. I clicked on, like, you have a whole section for homeschooling, and I love, like, how to avoid homeschool burnout. I'm sure I'm going to need that in the very near future. Oh, my gosh. I love it. I love everything that you're blogging about. It's so fun. I really love when people have kind of, like, a passion or an interest in something, and then they share it and make other people's lives better. It kind of makes it a little less overwhelming to think of trying to teach your kids on your own when there's so many people giving you all their little tips and tricks. And I love your style of blog. I love the variety of information and how there's something for them and something for us. And I don't know, it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. And so what is your plan for growing it? I mean, just to continue to share pieces of you and pieces of what you're up to?
Well, it started out as a hobby, and then I went on Twitter. I had it for a long time, and I never invested a lot of time actually trying to learn it. And once I learned it, I realized that it was a big source of traffic for my blog.
Interesting.
And as I started to use it, I started to get a lot of people who asked me to do product reviews for them. So I've been doing a lot of those. I've been doing a few of those a week.
Awesome.
And I also have a couple of freelance opportunities. Tomorrow I actually have an interview that I'm really excited about with our local family magazine for a freelance writing position. So that's kind of where my blog has taken me. And I think that when you kind of become a mom, you feel like you have to dedicate all of your energies towards your children. And it took me a long time to realize that the happier I was, the better mom I could be, and the better overall person I could be. And blogging was something I did for myself.
Yeah.
And the more I did it and the more successful I felt at doing it, the happier I became.
Right. Because it's important. I've talked about this so many times here. It's so important to still have an identity aside from being a mom, because while that is like our most important role and the most spectacular one, it's like being a teacher who refuses to keep learning. You have nothing to teach.
Right.
Like you have to keep building who you are so that you have something to offer to your kids. And then if you're able to offer it to more people in the process, that's even better. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. It's so fun to have something that's fulfilling and exciting. And because I'll admit, like, it's not fun to get up out of bed in the morning sometimes because you know what the expectations are. You know how many little mouths you have to get like food and all the little hands that need your help. And so when you have something else that kind of like gives you a little bit of a push, it's so good. It's so good. And I know you told me, tell everybody what you're reading. First of all, tell me about the Mompreneur book, and then we'll talk about the other fun one that you're reading.
The Mompreneur book gives you like steps and tips and tricks, and it's basically a very inspirational book to get from where you are to where you want to be.
Uh-huh. And what's that one called again?
What did I tell you was?
Let me see. I think 10 Steps for the Mompreneur.
10
Does that sound right?
Yeah. Because
Awesome.
I've been looking through a few of them. That's why I asked you.
Like, I have about 20 books that I'm trying to decide between in this crazy world of being a mompreneur. I love it. I love that term. It's so funny that when I started this podcast not even a year ago, and one of my first interviews, actually it was probably one of the first 3 interviews that I did, she called herself a mompreneur, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that term. And now it's going to be the title of like a spin-off podcast, and it's just my favorite identifying term ever. So I would probably love that book.
It's all over. I never realized that it was I mean, it's probably a legit term at this point because it's being used so much.
Exactly. I love it so much. And then the other one, which I think just kind of tells everybody what a cute mom you are, that you're reading the same book as your kids so you can be part of the conversation. That's awesome. What's the name of the book?
It's a Unicorn Valley book. So it kind of fits in with the whole social media unicorn theme as well.
That's cool. Well, that's a good one to want to have conversations about, though. Like, there's some good themes in there, I'm sure, that you want to be part of conversations. That's so fun. I love that. I actually really love younger children's fiction so much more than any like adult fiction at times, because first of all, it's clean and it really is entertaining, and there's so many fun details to illustrate to kids' imaginations. So I love reading those books with my kids. It's so much more fun than reading something separate. Although I do love my good business books, but I'm with you there. I love it. It's such an adventure.
Yeah. Do you have any good business book that you're reading right now?
Oh my goodness. Right now? What am I reading right now? It's really kind of a scroll through my Audible and whatever feels good in the moment. So I kind of have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. What have I been reading? I've been reading, let's scroll through The Purpose-Driven Life, and the one that I can't say because it has a swear word in it, but it's good. And then there's some that I'm on constant replay. I was just telling my friend today about The Energy Bus, which is just kind of good with having the right people around you and surrounding yourself with the right thoughts and the right people. And then I love anything by Darren Hardy. But anyway, we could go through my whole Audible. I've totally gotten a lot of these recommendations from past guests. I think I started a link on my website in my Amazon store, like a book list of all the recommendations from past guests, because I love it. I love hearing all of these life-changing books. So go check that out for all the best books for moms.
Okay.
Mompreneurs, I guess. Oh my gosh, I'm really chatty tonight. Thanks for letting me do a lot of the talking. Okay, so tell me, final question that I love to ask everybody. What makes you a marvelous mom?
What makes me a marvelous mom? That's like tooting my own horn, right?
Yes, that's the point. You get to. This is like the best place to do that.
I feel like I have the ability to be pretty organized and stay relatively calm and stress-free. Granted that I have 4 kids and we homeschool and like trying to do my own things at the same time. I think I have like the organizational skills down.
Yeah.
And at least that's what a lot of people tell me.
I can kind of see that from your blog. You definitely have some organizational skills that leave the rest of us wanting. Leave us a little bit jealous. So that's good. I love that. I love that answer. I love all the answers I hear. And it's so funny how it is so hard to talk nicely about ourselves sometimes when we feel like we're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
But thanks for answering it anyway. You are so cute. I'm so excited to keep up with your blog. I'm going to link to like one of my favorite blog posts, and then you can send me one of your favorite posts, and I'll share that with everybody. So go check it out right now, you guys. Let's see. I'm going to butcher thisbeautifullifeofours.com. So cute. I love the blog post title too.
Thank you. I've considered changing it to something a little bit more easy to remember.
Yeah.
But that's what it started as. So.
Yeah, I like it. It speaks exactly what you're going to be reading about anyway. So don't do a brand change just yet.
Okay.
If anything, you could pick a simpler URL and then just redirect to The Simple Life of Ours. You know, like you could still have that be your... Anyway, now we're on Shop Talk. Like we're talking the businessy side of life. But thank you for being on here and sharing a little piece of you with all the marvelous moms who are listening today. It's so fun to get to know people from all over the place. And I've loved hearing about your background and what your mommy life is like.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was nice chatting with you. I binge watched your episodes while I was on the elliptical today.
Yay, I love it. I love it so much. I sometimes binge listen, except for, everybody kind of hates the sound of their own voice. Yeah. After a while, listening to myself too much, I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I wish I could just mute me and listen to everybody else. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're a listener, and I'm excited to share your episode with everybody so they can binge listen when they're exercising or driving in the car.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and have a marvelous day, and we'll see you on the next episode. As a busy mom who's also running multiple businesses, it's kind of hard for me sometimes to get healthy dinner on the table that my kids will actually eat, which is why I'm obsessed with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is going to help you get inspired again and again, be unstoppable, and eat deliciously with your family. They shop, plan, and deliver your food to your door. They give you step-by-step recipes and ingredients so you can just relax and enjoy all there is to love about cooking. And of course, eating. I know you'll love it as much as I do, so I'm offering you an amazing code. I'm not an affiliate, but this is just the best way to get it for the best price. Use code KIRTYRR to get $40 off your first HelloFresh box. This is an amazing, amazing deal, and I promise you will thank me later when you taste the food for the first time. So again, go check it out, HelloFresh.com, and use activation code KIRTYRR to get started today.